What's up, guys? Today I'm talking about the song called The Same. Just getting right into it. You can find it on the album Take Me Away, which was released in 2012. I really like this song because it's reminded me of like leaves falling for some reason, and fall is always a really nostalgic time of year. It's fitting because it's a nostalgic song. I'm pondering this relationship with somebody who was one of my closest friends. It's classic, like, fall in love with your best friend scenario, which is always so glorified in movies and TV shows. Like, they make it look so cute and sweet and like moving. In real life, in my experience at least, it's really not exactly like that. Obviously, The thing is that once you establish a dynamic with somebody, it's kind of hard to break into a new dynamic, So me and this person were very like goofy and silly, and I was like totally myself around them, like didn't care what I looked like, didn't care what they thought of me in the beginning, and was just a ridiculous person. And they would always tease me, and it was always fun and funny and silly, and he would make fun of me a lot, and people would be like, oh my god, he's so mean to you. But I don't know why, I just like knew that it was a joke, and I knew that it was like flirting. I don't know. We were young. Not that I'm not young, but like, I was like fresh out of high school. And anyway, this person, I like didn't realize that I was going to develop such feelings. This song is kind of me reflecting on that, because my feelings grew and grew and grew, and the more I was around them, the more I wanted to stay around them. Every moment, every night that I was around this person, I just held on to it, and then I would look forward to the next time I'd get to see them, and I was always on the edge of my seat, and it was always exciting, and I just felt alive and hopeful and was like a hopeless romantic. First of all, they would never admit to me that they had feelings for me too. And so that was always hard because I felt it between us. But it was just, I think, hard to admit because we had already had this established dynamic that it was like, no, this is too weird to even think about that. Next thing you know, I like cared so much about what this person thought of me, and I cared what I looked like, I cared what I talked about, what I listened to, what I wear. This song is kind of about me reflecting and being like, well, what if I had cared from the beginning and known that I was gonna fall for them? Like, maybe I would have carried myself differently, maybe I would have had it more together and been, cooler, if you will. I don't know, I just cared way too much what this person thought of me. And over time, we drifted apart, but I always held on to this resentment kind of towards them because I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I felt like he didn't take me seriously the way I wished I would have been taken seriously, and I felt like it was my fault because I didn't try harder in the beginning, or I didn't like carry myself a different way. I don't know. It was silly. Like, I don't feel like that anymore. But for the longest time, honestly, I still really would, anytime I would judge myself, it's like I would attach that person's like face and name to the judgment and be like, oh, it's all his fault. Like, he made me like feel like bad about myself and doubt myself, when really it was my own like lack of self-confidence, and it was me kind of projecting that onto him. Like, I couldn't read his mind, so I was basically just assuming this is what he wanted and this is what he likes. And it was just a dangerous game to play, to start thinking what someone else wants and what someone else thinks of you, because you really don't ever know unless they're totally honest with you and open with you. And in the end, I don't think that person was ever trying to like outwardly hurt me, even though a lot of the things he said back then were stuck with me, and I really held on to that and judged myself for so long. Looking back, I just wasn't secure enough in myself, and the truth is that me being myself is what bonded us, because we were both like ridiculous and goofy. It's weird how once you realize you're into somebody, all of a sudden you start altering things. You start thinking like, oh, what would they want? What would they like? And suddenly I start like filtering myself and really getting nervous about what I say and what I do. And I end up coming off as even more of a fool, because it's like I care too much and I'm not being myself. And so, I don't know, maybe you've been through that before. That's really slippery slope. It's hard to get out of your head at that point. This song is about that. It was at a time when I was just thinking like, oh, well, if I was different and if I changed myself, like maybe things would be different. Maybe he'd take me seriously as like more than a friend, but it just doesn't work like that. And what ifs are not helpful. And, I'm grateful for that whole, I know I say that in every single one about every scenario. I'm like, so grateful for that. Like at the time, obviously I was not. I was sad and bummed and, longing. But now I'm like, okay, I need to be secure in myself and not rely on somebody else's opinion, what they think I should do, what they like. It doesn't matter, like, what do I like? What do I think is cool? Like, that's where I'm gonna find true fulfillment. Is when I finally decide that my opinion matters more to my life. So it's just, blah, blah, blah. Not a good idea to change for somebody else so that like maybe the circumstance can be different and they will be into you, or that they'll love you back, because it is what it is. If you are who you are and you've shown them that side of you, you can't go wrong. Things are gonna turn out the way they're supposed to turn out because you were yourself, and either that fits with another person or it doesn't, and either they accept it or they don't. They want you or they don't. And the best thing is to just be yourself from the start, which I'm still, I still struggle with. I still struggle all the time with caring too much what people think of me. It's like such a big downfall for me. I'm constantly having to talk to myself and remind myself, quit focusing so much on somebody else's thoughts. Like, it's dangerous. I do think in the end, there's nothing I could have done to change that scenario to make that person be, love me back in the way I loved them. It just wasn't in the cards. And that's okay. Like every other friendship, relationship, I did get a lot out of it. I've got to feel that like aliveness, that hope and excitement. I think over time we get a little jaded and our feelings get a little dampened and we experience a lot of disappointment. And so sometimes that kind of hopefulness changes over time. I don't know, and I sort of miss that. I miss that like ridiculous hope that I had. Anyway, so that's what this is about. And I just want to thank Jeremy McCoy. Everything he taught me in those studio moments was awesome to be able to work with him. This one is the same. Thank you so much. I hope you keep following along. I'll be back next Wednesday, and here we go. Looking out over the city, all the streets, they look so busy. Out of millions, I'm here thinking about you. Maybe it's the lights making me feel this way tonight, or just the fact you used to look at this same view. But oh, was less of a fool if I hadn't admitted myself to you. And if you never knew how crazy and frustrating I am, hard to be around some days. If I had only known, I'd fall for you. I'd fall for you. I'd fall for you. Watching all the ones I envy, how they turn and run so pretty. Still I can't give you the chase you've given me. Now it's all out on the table. You can run willing and able, but you know the secret that I keep, and you don't leave. But I'd rather watch you struggle than watch you pretend you're humble. You know how hard it is for me to hear you call me friend. But nothing's changed after all. You're still the same. If I changed, was less familiar, would you stay? If I was less of a fool, if I hadn't admitted myself to you, what would you do if you never knew how crazy and frustrating I am? Hard to be around some days. If I had only known, I'd fall for you. What I would do, you're like a flower to me, and when you hear blossoming, I take what I can get, 'cause you'll soon fall away. But I see the leaves are changing. I'll never be like home to you, but I'll still watch you go as you fade, and I'll pray that someday I'll be less of a fool. Next time around, I won't reveal so much of this to you. Tell me now, if you never knew me in this way, and how crazy and frustrating I am. Hard to be around you these days. I wish I'd known I'd fall for you. Yeah, 'cause if I'd only known I'd fall for you, then I'd be less of a fool. If